And we're live. Hi, Daoud. How are you?
Hey, Natasha, how are you?
Good.
How was your vacation? I lost your voice. When صوتك? Anyway, until she comes back on, we're very happy to have with us Ambassador Omar Awadallah. Omar is the Deputy Foreign Minister. He's a veteran of the Palestinian Foreign Ministry, the diplomacy. He's been involved in various negotiations and planning for different things, and we're happy to have you with us. I think Natasha will come in soon, but until she comes in, Dr. Ambassador Omar, can you give us an update?
I'm back. I think I'm back. Yeah.
What is happening? Are you okay? Okay. So tell us about your vacation when we took off.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think you can call it a vacation with 3 kids. You just call it a trip. But it was fine. It was fine. It was nice to see the beach. But
you were on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And now you have these Indy cars in Washington D.C. flying around the White House, right?
I avoided them. Some of my friends went. I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going to down DC. It's just too much. So I stayed in the suburbs. Anyways, we have a special guest with us today. I'm gonna let Daoud introduce us.
Yes, I already introduced him, but I'll introduce him again. Ambassador Omar Awadallah. Omar, thank you so much for joining us. 2 Arab journalists and 1 Levant. And I'd like to ask you to give us a quick update on the situation of the settlers, violence, especially in the village of Qusra, the homes that are being under siege for, 10, 11 days. Give us the update, and then we'll go into some of the other political issues.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And it is really a pleasure to be with you. And starting from, the hot issue that what is really happening now here in the West Bank. Unfortunately, what is happening now in the West Bank is the extension of the genocide that has happened in Gaza and still happening, unfortunately, in Gaza with the ceasefire. I can't say that it is a ceasefire. It's a less fire in a way or another in Gaza.
It's a ceasefire on one side, on the Palestinian side.
Yes,
the Israelis can shoot, but Palestinians are not allowed to defend themselves.
Nothing. The fire is still there. And they are expanding this fire to the West Bank using settler, not violence, settler terrorism. It's systematic, it's widespread, it's coordinated, it's prepared, it's injected with ideology, with weapons to those settlers that are now this big monster that swallow this state of settlers, swallow the state of Israel, let me say like this. And now they are trying to, to take over every aspect of our lives as Palestinian people, to finalize the Zionist project where less demography of Palestinians with the utmost geography of the historic Palestine, unfortunately. So this is a new tool. It's maybe not new, brand new tool. It is one of the tools that Israel is using to to subjugate the Palestinian people and to finalize this project by expelling the Palestinians out with the forcible transfer, the genocide, the killing, the arbitrary detention of the Palestinian people. So Qusra is an example, one of the examples that Israel is trying to impose its de factos on the ground, using this new, big, huge, old mechanism that's called the settler terrorism, because that the Israeli government changed its DNA. Now more than 30% of the Israeli government are settlers. It's a government of settlers, for settlers, from settlers, and working only for their benefits, trying to finish the thing that they started 7 decades ago, trying to let the Palestinians go out, as the plan of Mr. Smotrich came with the decisive
They're
plan.
competing. They're competing about who can be worse to the Palestinians to get more votes in the elections. I mean, it's very clear.
Especially that,
There
yes,
is a
we're in a season of,
competition who can be worse.
yes, it's a season of elections, and in this season, the Palestinian blood is the ticket to win the elections, unfortunately, in Israel. So now they are more aggressive. That does not mean that this was not the normal for the last 3 or 4 years of the life of this government. This is the normal.
But it escalated.
Definitely, they're escalating that because this is the ticket. The ticket is the Palestinian blood, the Palestinian geography, the Palestinian demography. So Kusra is an example to expand with the settlements enterprise and regime in the Palestinian territory, where they are trying to annex the Palestinian land here and there, and using the power of those settlers. The interesting thing of those settlers that they are at daylight, they are ministers, they are soldiers, they are officials. At night light, they are settlers, militias, killers. You know, those who are inflaming the situation.
At night, they're terrorists.
Yes, definitely.
So, Mr. Omar, how come no one is stopping them, either from the Israeli side or the Palestinian Authority sides? Why no one is stopping them?
I think that first, from the Israeli side, let's take it from that perspective. They are part of the mechanism of the Israeli vehicle, if we can call it like this. They are part of the system. Settlers are one of the tools. It's similar to the Israeli occupying army. They are part of that Israeli occupying army. They are part of the Israeli parties that are now forming the current government. So the head of the Israeli police and Israeli so-called security and Israeli war minister are settlers. So no one will stop himself from, you know, attacking your rights in Palestine. So they are one. They are the same. Everything is coordinated and orchestrated by the current Israeli government. They are part of this, and this is part of the policy. It's part of the Israeli program, the program of the Israeli current government was to expand settlements and to send weapons and to give weapons to settlers, adding to this to finance settlements and settler terrorism. So that's why they are not stopping them, because they are at the contrary, they are giving them impunity, and they are free of charge. They can kill and trigger free of charge. No one will ask them what did you did here or there, because they have already they have this pretext of self-defense that unfortunately many countries are still injecting this idea in the minds of their people, that Israel has the right to self-defense. Self-defense.
Well, it's the people under hostages that have the right to self-defense. It's people who are being surrounded that have a right to self-defense.
Definitely.
But I want to ask you a question. Do you think, you think the Israelis are baiting the Palestinians to shoot at them so that they can really destroy, go much farther? You think it's a bait that they're trying to get the Palestinians to shoot a few Israelis, and then they will say, here, they're shooting us, and they will transfer them, and they will escalate even more?
Unfortunately, there is no other explanation than this, because Israel is trying to provocate the Palestinian people, calling for a reaction by the Palestinian people. Israel and its occupying army, settlers, officials, they are masters in killing. They are masters in bombardment. So this is the easy way for them, for you to react and for them to, you know, to start bombard here and there, and telling that we are in a self-defense mode and the Palestinians are terrorists, and to expand the genocide that happened in Gaza to the West Bank at the same scale. Now there is a genocide in the West Bank, but not at the same scale that we see we saw in Gaza. More than 75,000 Palestinians already have been killed by Israel in Gaza, and they are ready to do the same in the West Bank by provoking our people, by letting the settlers attack the villages, like what happened in Tel, what happened in Kasra. And when one of our people take that reaction, take the defense and defending himself, he will look as a terrorist, and the international community will start to condemn, and Israel will say once again and cry wolf that, oh, the Palestinians, they are what Palestinians? You enter to the village, you enter to his house, and you were, fully with weapons and with arsenals, with all kinds of weapons, entering to his house, and he's naked. So yes, they are calling for violence.
So since this is in the West Bank, is there anything the Palestinian Authority can do to stop that? What is their jurisdiction? What can they do to stop that, if they can actually do anything?
First of all, we're working on the legal track, and you know that we have this advisory opinion that speaks clearly about the illegality of the settlements and the settlements regime, and this settlements should be dismantled, and all settlers should be evacuated. So the resolution of the adoption of the advisory opinion in 2024 was clear that all settlers should be evacuated. That means that there is no good settler and bad settler. All settlers should be evacuated, regardless good or bad. All settlers are participating in hostilities against the Palestinian people. So there is obligation on the international community. As I said, Israel is trying to provoke us to react on what they are doing. That's why they are using settlers now to inflame the situation in the West Bank. So we're using this legal track. We're using the diplomatic track, calling international community to take actions to deter those terrorists, to put them on the world terrorist list, whether international one or local in some countries, to deal with them as terrorists, and to freeze assets, and to take so many decisions against them, to sue them in their courts. So we're working with the international community toward such a setting. At the same time, we're trying to defend our people by give them some support for resilience, and to be resilient on their homeland. We believe that what Israel is looking for is the geography with this demography. So our work is to keep our people on their homeland, on their lands. This is part of the, let's say, the fight, the struggle that we're trying to prepare and to make the situation more accommodable for our people to stay on their homelands and confronting those illegal settlers. We're trying to help everyone by supporting, sending also the diplomatic community to these villages, to these cities, to see firsthand what's happening on the ground, and to report to their countries about what Israel and its settlers are doing against our people. This is what we do. We believe in the called peaceful resistance from people to resist and to defend themselves. This is part of our strategy, adding to this the legal and diplomatic and political track that we're trying to pursue to stop all of these illegalities.
Ambassador Omar Awadallah, Deputy Foreign Minister, your diplomatic effort seems to have worked on the E1 issue. On the E1, you have a huge number of countries that not only denounced what happened, but they made the following statement: businesses should not consider bidding for this tender, legal consequences, because this is a breach of law, international law. So already the UK, France, Canada are saying to the business people, to the banks, to the construction companies, if you bid on E1, we will not do business with you around the world. Do you think that the EU countries and the European countries are finally finding a backbone? They're starting to actually not only speak, but they're actually putting some power and teeth behind their words.
Daoud, sorry, can you explain what E1 is for anyone who's listening?
E1, well, maybe the ambassador should say what E1
Yeah.
is.
What's E1?
You know, E1, one of the Israeli projects, the settlements enterprise, that the project that will cut the West Bank into two division, will divide the West Bank, northern of the West Bank with southern of the West Bank, and will take all Jerusalem from the Dead Sea up until the Israeli borders. And this project, if happens, that means that there is no Palestinian state. Jerusalem is out of the equation. Our Bedouin community and the Palestinian Bedouin community, they will be transferred out of this area. There will be no connection between south and north of the West Bank. This is the most dangerous project, strategic project, part of the Israeli settlements enterprise that will destroy any hope of peace or any hope of a continuous Palestinian state based on the international law. It's not only settlements, but it's a whole enterprise that will divide the Palestinian territory and will have a special a regime of apartheid, where there is special roads for settlers, no roads for Palestinians, where there is no contiguity, and there is no Jerusalem, unfortunately, within the Palestinian state or within 1967 borders, which is assigned to the state of Palestine. So this is.
So are you happy? Are you happy with the reaction of many European countries?
Let me say that, first of all, reaction is good. Is it enough? I think yet, if we are not going to take more actions, statements are not enough. We welcome the statements, and we thank countries to take this step. This step, if it was taken, let's say, 10 years ago, it might give a very big effect to the settlements enterprise, because we said that we don't want any business with the settlements regime. We don't want any company that have benefit from the settlements and from appropriating the Palestinian resources. Now we have the advisory opinion. The advisory opinion was clear about not rendering aid and not supporting any action that can sustain the occupation, the Israeli occupation in the Palestinian land. So what these good countries decided and took in their statement is part of the advisory opinion, as if they are fulfilling the advisory opinion. Nonetheless, we look at the settlements enterprise as a project, a whole project. We don't want the countries to take it, a step-by-step approach, or to look at settlers as individuals or companies as individual or unilateral action. We want a front of countries, many countries, taking decisions toward all the regime, because this is a systematic policy. This is a policy by the state, by Israel. So they should take sanctions against all the Israeli regime, all the Israeli occupying power, all the Israel, the state itself, not only taking some steps against companies that might take a bit. No, go direct to the core, to the root causes, which is the illegal occupation, as the International Court of Justice said and elaborated about the presence of the Israeli occupying power in Palestinian territory as illegal and should be ended immediately, as it was stipulated in that advisory opinion. Not companies only, you need to dig in the roots of this occupation to end it. This is the good and the right thing to do.
But in the
Natasha.
midst of that, we heard the news that they might ban Palestinian President Abbas from attending the UN session. And how does this play? How does this change the equation? And how does this affect any efforts to stop or to raise awareness on the settlers issue?
First of all, it's our right to go to the United Nations. We are not visiting New York. We're going to the United Nations. We are a state member or an observer state at the United Nations. This is our right. This is the right of our president to be in New York and at the General Assembly and to represent the Palestinian people in the way or other leaders will represent their countries. First, this is important to know. And according to the headquarter agreement, I think our friends, the Americans, they should accept and give permit and visa to His Excellency the President and his delegation to New York. Nonetheless, we were there or we were not there. We will continue our fight toward ending this occupation and confronting this occupation and the illegal practices and measures and crimes that are being committed against the Palestinian people. Whether we went to New York or not, we will continue our fight, and the president will be present more even, whether he's there physically or he's not there physically. We will send our messages, we will send our priorities, and we are working with the international community toward hearing the Palestinian voice in the way that we want the international community to hear our voices and to know about what is really happening on the ground here. We believe that if there is a real move by the American administration, and they did some of there is some talks between our leadership and with the American administration, and they came up with the 20-point plan to stop the genocide in Gaza and talking about a political horizon that leads to the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and independence. That's great. But adding to this, they need also to engage with the Palestinian leadership and to receive the Palestinian leadership in New York at the General Assembly at the upcoming session in New York in September, the upcoming September.
Kushner was in Cairo. He met with Hamas. He came to Jerusalem. He met with Netanyahu. And Muqata'a is 12 miles from Jerusalem. He didn't bother to see President Abbas. So there is a problem. There's a problem here between the U.S. and the Palestinian leadership. Will you ask that he move the UN General Assembly to Geneva the way that Arafat in 1988 demanded that they move, and they did? They voted 152 to 2. Israel and the U.S. Opposed it, and they moved the UN General Assembly. Will you make that requirement?
First of all, I can say the line that our leadership they used to speak, and 2 days ago, the vice president, he had a meeting with all the journalists in his office, and he said that there is a good communication with the American administration. I think Mr. Kushner was here and was in Cairo because he wants to implement the 20-point plan, not the 20-point, the 15-point plan of Mr. Mladinov, talking about the second stage of the plan, of the ceasefire plan, which speaks clearly about Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, which we value and we want that to happen sooner than later. Adding to this, the decommissioning of Hamas. We are following all these questions, and we are following the life, and we're talking about the life of our people in Gaza. So there is, as I said, communication between the Palestinian leadership and the American administration. At the same time, we cannot say now that we don't have visas or we are not going to New York, so we are not going to talk about any steps that we can take. Nonetheless, yes, there is an example that happened years ago with President Yasser Arafat when we moved. So there is a good and a lot of solutions to be present within the General Assembly and with the high-level week, and we will be discussing all these options, all these alternatives once there is a clear decision that we are not going to New York. We don't want to just to jump in front of the carrot before the thing is happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to comment on this, but I'm curious to see. about the latest Israeli army revelation that about the Hind Rajab case, and that they actually admitted shooting directly at the car where Hind Rajab was. And of course, the Hind Rajab case was one of the biggest reason the let's say the encampments happened in the US. It mobilized the younger generation, the Gen Z. So Hind Rajab case is huge example of what caused the young people to mobilize. What's your reaction about the latest army announcements regarding the Hind Rajab case?
First of all, there's nothing called in the Israeli system investigating an Israeli soldier. This is, a mess. This is to mislead the international community. This is as if you are rushing ashes in the eyes. Israel want to whitewash itself as if it's a democracy, that it has, legal system. No, the legal system, the Israeli army, Israeli officials, settlers, the government, the judicial system, all are tools of the occupation. Nothing will come out of this investigation. They just trying to buy more time and to give an impression to the international community as if there is a legal system that is putting in place accountability. No. And we, by the way, when we submitted our files to the International Criminal Court, we said that there is no complementarity in Israeli judicial system. There are part of the occupying system. Adding to this, so many Israeli NGOs and human rights organizations, they said that the conviction rate against settlers is 99.9%. They will not take the case if it is against a settler, but they will take it if it's against an Arab or a Palestinian. So there is no legal system in Israel to investigate such cases. Unfortunately, it's misleading to the international community, and they are using this for propaganda purposes.
And how would you
Do you think that? Do you think they're trying to prove to the international community or International Criminal Court that here we're investigating, and by law, International Court cannot move on if there is an investigation? So they're trying to put a delay on the ICC to investigate war crimes. You think that's the reason, maybe?
Maybe but that seems that there is a lot of poor lawyers that are working with the Israeli system, because they know that the ICC itself will investigate and to know how much they are serious about this investigation, and they will look at their record of investigation, the investigation, including the international, how they call it, the kitchen that was attacked in Gaza. They closed the investigation, and that was a surprise to all the countries, that they lost some of their citizens, whether Australia or Poland or other UK and other countries. So they know that nothing will come up with this investigation. It's to mislead and to whitewash as if they are doing internal investigation to delay something. But the International Criminal Court and other courts, they know it, and that's why they said that complementarity should be serious investigation, not something cosmetic.
So how would you respond to so I heard many Israeli officials saying, well, this is war, mistakes happen, like whoopsie, like stuff like that. How would you respond to say, okay, it's just war, mistakes happen?
It's the same answer that any smart investigator will tell them, that the crimes in Gaza are systematic and widespread. They are intentionally, we're targeting kids, children, journalists, paramedics. All humanitarian infrastructure was attacked because they want the Palestinian people to be punished, and they were about genocide. So it's clear, no need, to tell that this is not a collateral damage. It's clear what happened, and it was recorded. Adding to this, it was recorded not only this incident, but many incidents in Gaza Strip mainly and in the West Bank were recorded, and it were clear that they were an intention to kill. They have this doctrine about trigger to kill, or trigger to make them, disabled. So many investigative committees since 2000, the war on Gaza in 2008, and the other wars that came after. So many investigative committees and commission of inquiries came up with this conclusion that Israel is intentionally targeting kids, children, women, paramedics, journalists, because definitely they want that. This is a doctrine, and this is ideology, let me say like this, because they want the how they call it when they used it in Lebanon, the Dahiya doctrine, if you remember.
Yeah.
To destroy everything that's moving.
Carpet bombing.
Carpet bombing.
Yeah.
Not only carpet bombing, immorally attacking children and women. That's why we see more than 22,000 children being killed in this genocide.
And then when they tell you, well, they're like human shields used by armed sanctions like Hamas and others. These are the two responses: is either they're human shields or the How would you respond to that?
All these tricks were used in their poor intervention at the International Court of Justice at the time of the case of South Africa on the genocide. International law is clear about targeting children and civilian infrastructure and civilian objects. There is so-called the proportionality and distinction and all of this. You need to take all these appropriate measures before attacking any civilian object. And many of the interviews we heard from prominent journalists, they were talking that if that happened in one of the Israeli buildings, that there is a hostage, are you going to bomb that Israeli building? Where inside that building there is 15 Israelis and one terrorist, are you going to bomb that building? He said no. It's clear. Why are you bombing a civilian object if you think that there is someone inside that object that you wanted to Israel? Unfortunately, Israel normalized the attack on civilian objects in Gaza, normalized the attack on hospitals, on children yards, on schools. And for the international community, it was normal, to hear that, okay, they attacked that school because there was one of Hamas inside that school. Are you going to kill 500 people because there is only one from Hamas inside that school? That's not the international law, and that's not the moral, and that's not the law that the international community established after the Second World War.
Yeah.
Ambassador Omar Awadallah, you've been an excellent guest.
Yes.
You've given a really very good and clear position of the Palestinian Foreign Ministry and the Palestinian people. We wish you the best, and thank you so much for appearing on our program. To Paxi Fantalba and Michael Conyan, who joined us, and everyone who's going to be joining us, please subscribe to our account. And thank you so much, Dr. Omar.
Thank you so much.
You want to say something?
Thank you so much, Mr. Omar, and thanks for everyone who joined us as well. And please feel free to subscribe to our newsletter. All of our shows are free. Consider paid subscription as well to support our show. And we'd love to hear from you. If anyone has any question now live, if Mr. Omar has any time to answer, or if he's willing, feel free to ask us any questions. But if you don't have any questions, thank you for joining us, and thank you again, Mr. Omar. And until we meet again next week for another episode of Two Arab Journalists, One Levant, and Salam.
Salam.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.